Welcome. In the world of chemical reactions, there's this really cool point of perfect balance called equilibrium. But how do you actually measure it? Well, today we're going to dive into the two constants that define this balance, Kc and Kp, and uncover the pretty amazing link that connects them. So, right off the bat, here's the puzzle we're trying to solve. When you're dealing with reactions that involve gases, you can look at the equilibrium state in two ways, either by the concentration of the chemicals or by their pressure. This gives us two different numbers, Kc and Kp. Now, on the surface, they look totally different, but they're describing the exact same balanced reaction. So the big question is, how are they connected? That's exactly what we're here to figure out.
All right, first things first. Before we can talk about measuring it, we need to be crystal clear on what chemical equilibrium even is. Now, the most important word to remember here is dynamic. Equilibrium doesn't mean everything has just stopped. Not at all. It's more like a perfectly matched game of tug of war. Both sides are pulling with the exact same amount of force. So the rope isn't moving, but believe me, there's a whole lot of action going on. That's chemical equilibrium for you. The reaction making products is happening at the exact same speed as the reaction turning them back into reactants. Okay, so to put a number on this state of balance, chemists use what are called equilibrium constants. So let's meet our two main players for today, Kc and Kp. So here's the main difference at a glance. Kc, with the C standing for concentration, can be used for stuff dissolved in water and for gases. It's pretty versatile. But Kp, where P stands for pressure, is a specialist. It only works for gases, which makes sense, right? Since they're the only ones really exerting significant pressure. This is a super important distinction to keep in your back pocket. Let's get a closer look at Kc. At its heart, it's just a fraction. You put the concentrations of your products on top and the concentrations of your reactants on the bottom. It basically gives us a snapshot of the equilibrium by telling us how much stuff, how many moles, are packed into every liter of space. And then we have its partner, Kplay. It does the exact same job, but it speaks a different language. Instead of asking how much stuff is in this space, Kplay asks how hard is each gas pushing. It's the same idea, products over reactants, but it's all measured in units of pressure, like atmospheres. So you might be wondering, how on earth can we connect how much stuff is there with how hard is it pushing? Well, the answer, and it's really quite beautiful, lies in one of the most fundamental laws in all of chemistry. Let's walk through how this bridge gets built. We start with that famous equation you probably remember, the ideal gas law, PV equals nRT. With a little bit of algebra, we can rearrange it to solve for pressure, P. That gives us P equals N over V times RT. And right here in step 3, this is the magic moment. What is N over V? It's moles divided by volume. That's literally the definition of molar concentration. And just like that, boom. In step 4, we see our bridge. Pressure is just the concentration times R and T. They're directly connected. Now that we've built that bridge, we can finally reveal the really elegant formula that works like a Rosetta Stone, letting us translate perfectly between the language of pressure and the language of concentration. And here it is. Kp equals Kc times RT to the power of delta N. I know, it looks pretty simple, right? But this little equation is an absolute powerhouse, directly linking the world of pressure with the world of concentration. Okay, let's break this down because the real secret sauce is that last term, delta N, or delta N. This isn't the change in all the moles in the reaction. Oh no, it is only the change in the moles of gas. You take the moles of gas on the product side and subtract the moles of gas on the reactant side. You completely ignore anything that's a solid or a liquid. Now think about what that means. If your reaction has the same number of gas moles on both sides, delta N is 0. Anything to the power of 0 is 1, so Kp just equals Kc. If you make more gas than you started with, delta N is positive, and Kp will be bigger than Kc. And if you use up gas in the reaction, delta N is negative, and Kp will be smaller. It's that simple. Just remember, your temperature absolutely must be in Kelvin or the whole thing falls apart. So this is more than just a neat party trick with a formula. Why is being able to convert between these two so important out there in the real world? Really, it all comes down to flexibility. Imagine you're an engineer at a chemical plant making ammonia. It's way, way easier to just stick a pressure gauge on a giant tank than it is to constantly be pulling out samples to measure their concentration. This formula lets those engineers use the easy pressure data to know exactly what's happening with the reaction's equilibrium.
It also means scientists can look up data from a study done 20 years ago and convert it to fit the work they're doing today, even if the measurements were in a different format. It's incredibly useful. So we've seen how the ideal gas law acts as this amazing bridge, connecting the big picture world of pressure with the tiny molecular world of concentration. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other fundamental laws are out there in science that act as a Rosetta Stone, helping us translate between two ways of looking at the universe that seem completely different at first glance? Definitely something to think about.